where does the club go from here with the results of Brandon's MRI?
Historically, April-May trades are pretty uncommon, and for the most part, we're going to look inside, and we've got a number of really interesting candidates. Obviously, Bolsinger came up and pitched really well. Scott Baker pitched really well yesterday. Carlos Frias, Joe Whelan, Zach Lee are all pitching really well, and so we'll take some time and focus internally right now and see what we have. And then we'll wake up in June and having scouted other organizations throughout the next 4 to 6 weeks and figure out where to go from there.
No intent to call other clubs right now?
I mean, you're always having some dialogue. It's just trades at this time of the year are pretty uncommon. And we have a number of interesting guys that I think it serves us well to get a feel for what we have. As I mentioned, those two guys came up and pitched well. And they've pitched really well in AAA so far. And we'll just kind of take it turn by turn and figure out, internally, externally, what makes the most sense.
In spring training, you said it was the bullpen that keeps you up at night. Now, what's the level of concern with your starting rotation, considering Brandon is out for probably a year and a half and Ryu is not quite ready yet?
I guess it always comes back to the bullpen because, ironically enough, this injury for me scares me more about the bullpen. We have guys that I feel like can help keep us in games. I worry about the length that they're going to provide and the toll it's going to take on the bullpen. But we also have a really deep bullpen, and we've got a number of interesting guys in AAA too. So we're just going to have to continue to work through kind of series to series and week to week to make sure that we're not putting our relievers in harm's way in terms of how much workload they're taking on. But we have a lot of interesting guys, both from the right side and left side, that we feel like can help eat up some of these innings.
What is your gut when you heard the results? What'd your gut say?
It's one of those things that, Brandon obviously has had a little bit of an injury history, but nothing related to the elbow. But I guess it just goes to, show that this is what happens in this game and with pitchers, and you have to be prepared for it. It's why we talk so much about depth. You never have enough. But immediately my thoughts went to Brandon. It's obviously a really difficult thing for a competitor to hear that they're going to be out for a year. I texted him and just said, hey, we're behind you and we'll get through this. And, that's kind of immediately where my thoughts went. And then take a deep breath and then try to figure out, where we go from here as an organization.
How much can you count on Brandon Beachy the second half of the year? Is he one of the answers to the puzzle for you?
I don't know yet. Obviously, we think he's got a great upside, and he's still coming back and rehabbing, and we're obviously watching him and Ryu and Stripling on top of the guys that I mentioned that were in the OKC rotation, and so we have a number of guys that have a chance to kind of help us throughout the course of the year. And the 5 that are in the Oklahoma City rotation are the ones that have the best chance to help us in the short term. And then at some point when we can start potentially factoring in Ryu and Beachy and others, that will obviously help.
What do you know at this point in terms of what the medical staff tells you about Ryu? When might you expect him back?
I don't know specifically. We're just kind of taking it day by day, and yesterday was a good day. He got off the mound and felt good today. And so, we'll continue with the progression to start working him up to, getting out on a rehab assignment. But it's going to take some time, and I don't know exactly how long yet.
Early?
I don't know exactly yet.
At this point in time, other teams are going to be looking again at the club's top prospects. Are you steadfast in holding on to them, even at the cost of, bolstering your rotation when the time comes?
We really don't have any hard and fast rules. We approach each and every conversation with an open mind. We're obviously very focused on our 2015 roster and the depth, but at the same time, we have to be mindful of 16 and beyond. And so it's hard to answer that in a vacuum because so much of it gets into the context of the deal, the player, the control, what you're talking about, that it makes it hard. But my guess is we're going to have a lot of different conversations that, that cover a lot of different types of pitchers, and therefore, the conversation about our prospects, I think, will vary some depending on who we're talking about.
Follow Dave's question. I mean, in the past, if the conversations from the other clubs started with Urias, Seager, Pedersen, there wasn't much of a conversation after that. Is that still safe to say?
I mean, the point here is that we don't have hard and fast rules. I think it would be incredibly difficult for us to, trade guys that we feel like will be, potential foundation pieces for a long period of time. But we're going to go into each and every conversation with an open mind to figure out what makes the most sense for us. And it's really difficult to answer in a vacuum just because context and specifics matter so much.